Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay, and I am the Bucks believer. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks were playing the Houston Rockets, who currently have the worst record in the entire NBA. And in the first half of that game, the Bucks really played down to their competition. They committed 14 turnovers in that half and were continually throwing really bad passes that allowed the Rockets to create some easy offense for themselves. Luckily, the Bucks were able to right that wrong in the second half, and they only had 3 turnovers in that second period. But in the first, they allowed the Rockets to really hang around and keep this game close because of the sloppy play on the offensive end of the court. Jeff Teague in particular really stood out to me in the turnover department as he committed 3 turnovers in just 8 minutes of play in that first half. Coach Mike Budenholzer did make an adjustment, however, and Teague did not appear in the second half. Teague is someone that I've been highly critical of since he came to the Bucks, so I'm certainly not surprised that Budenholzer ended up taking this route, and I will be curious to see if Jeff can regain his spot in the Bucks rotation as the season goes on. The Bucks also were a little bit discombobulated on the defensive end of the court, where they gave up 25 three-pointers to the Rockets, who shot 47.2% from downtown. The Rockets don't necessarily have a large sum of three-point shooters that are knockdown guys. So to see the Bucks give up those many three-pointers to the opposition was not a great sign. KJ Martin had 6 threes, Anthony Lamb had 4, DJ Augustine had 4, and Armani Brooks had 5. Each and every one of those guys are borderline fringe NBA level players, so it was good to see them step up and knock down shots, but at the same time the Bucks should do a better job at limiting how many shots those guys are able to make because they are simply just not that high level of shooters as they showed tonight. Luckily, the Bucks really stepped it up on the offensive end of the court once they got the turnover bug under control, and they were still able to win despite all of their defensive struggles. The Bucks put up 141 points in this game, and they did so with a really diverse offensive attack. In particular, their big men were able to dominate, as their leading scorer was Brook Lopez. That's not something I say too much, but Lopez was able to take advantage of a Rockets team that was ill-equipped to deal with him inside. Lopez had 24 points on a very efficient 7 for 8 shooting, and he also managed to get to the line 10 times, and he made 9 of those free throws. He had a couple really exciting dunks. He was obviously able to shoot plenty of free throws. He was able to get to his jump hook, which was a really pet shot for him back during his time with the Brooklyn Nets when he made an all-star team. So clearly, it was good to see Brook take advantage of a mismatch in the post time and time again. Giannis Antetokounmpo also had an efficient scoring game as he had 17 points on 8 for 8 shooting from inside the arc. He did go 0 for 3 when he settled for three-pointers, but whenever he was attacking the basket, he was quite successful. Giannis probably would have been able to do a bit more, but he did look to take a bit more of a distributor role, and he made a couple really nice passes to teammates. He also only played 28 minutes in this game, so he didn't have the opportunity to have a super huge night, as he clearly wasn't going to play as high of a minute load in a game that was as lopsided as this one was in the second half. Bobby Portis also stepped it up and played some bully ball off the bench. Portis chipped in 16 points on 7 for 14 shooting, and as you can see from the successful and efficient scoring nights that each of the 3 Bucks big men had, this was a really solid game for the Bucks when it comes to scoring in the paint. However, the Bucks guards made some really big plays too. In the second half, Chris Middleton and Donte DiVincenzo both really stepped up and made some huge plays. In that second half, Chris had 21 points on 5 for 9 shooting, made 4 of his 6 three-pointers, and made all 7 of his free throws. Chris can warm it up quick, and he certainly did so in that second half, and he made a couple really big three-pointers at the start of the third quarter that allowed the Bucks to build a bit of a cushion to their lead so that they could afford to rest Giannis and play him the limited minutes that he was able to play in this game. Donte DiVincenzo also made some huge plays both on offense and on defense, where we saw Defense Cenzo, as I like to call him, come away with 2 steals. On offense, he was Three Vincenzo, as he made 4 of his 8 3-pointers and scored 16 points on 6 for 10 shooting overall. That huge second half was really good to see from Dante, especially when you consider how well he shot the ball against the Washington Wizards. This is the second straight game where we've seen Dante play really well, and that's great to see considering that he was on a bit of a slump prior to these two matchups against Washington and Houston. Dante is a key player for the Bucks in the playoffs because he's likely to be someone who both starts games for Milwaukee and finishes game for the Bucks. So when he's knocking down shots and playing defense at the high level he's capable of, it really raises this ceiling and allows them to compete with the best teams in the NBA night in and night out. Overall, this was a rough game defensively. The Bucks gave up 133 points to a Rockets team that is at the bottom part of the league when it comes to effective field goal percentage. However, they had a great and diverse offensive attack, and that allowed them to survive great nights from Kelly Olynyk and KJ Martin. Now, the Bucks have 2 games off before they take on San Antonio on Monday, and I look forward to that game as the Bucks look to continue to take advantage of a Brooklyn Nets team that is all of a sudden tied with Milwaukee for the 2nd seed in the East. The push for the 2 seed continues, and while Giannis seems to not care too much about that, I would feel better about that series if the Bucks had home court advantage. Let me know what you thought of this game in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe, especially if you are a fellow Bucks believer. This is the place for you. I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover, so that's going to be it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all again very soon.